if we're ready, I'll call the meeting to order at about 7:02. I'd like to introduce Jennifer Haley. She's our acting fiscal officer, so she will do roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Dickerson?
Here.
Ms. Elliott?
Here.
Ms. Gerber?
Here.
Mr. Pollock?
Here.
Mr. Thacker?
Here. All present. We can stand for the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight to the July 10th, 2012 meeting. We have the June 5th special meeting minutes, the revised minutes in front of you. Everybody's had a chance to review those. Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yay.
Ms. Elliott?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Pollock?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Motion passes.
Second meeting minutes of the regular session held June 26, 2012. At this time, I entertain a motion on those.
I'll make a motion.
Second. Motion was to adopt. Second. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Pollock?
Yay.
Ms. Elliott?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yay.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Motion passes.
You've got, everybody should have a copy of the bills in front of them. Has everybody had a chance to look over those? Anybody hasn't had a chance to look over those? If so, I'd entertain a motion to adopt.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
Second.
I've got a second. Any discussion over the bills?
4,400 for jump day wasn't too bad, was it?
It's a couple thousand less than last year,
Yeah,
so we
that's-
actually
So I thought
we
it
saved a little bit of money. That was good.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'm not sure if we saved it from people putting out, or there's just a whole lot more people going through the neighborhoods picking up stuff.
I think there's a whole lot going through the neighborhood.
I believe you're right.
Mhm. That's all right.
We do a roll call on that.
Mr. Pollock?
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yay.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Ms. Elliott?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
I have a question.
Sure.
What kind of sign do we get for the pond rules?
It's exactly the same as the park signs. It's open from dusk to dawn, or from dawn to dusk. The reason being, we've got people that are going over there at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning fishing. It's in a residential area. It's keeping people up. So it is a park, so we gave it the exact same.
How big a sign is it?
It's a pretty big sign. Yeah, it's probably,
Wood?
2 foot by 3 foot.
yeah, it's a standard that we use at all the other parks. And to be honest with you, I talked to Ricky today. We are looking to move that sign to one of the other parks that's got a faded sign, and we're gonna get something a little bit smaller, but it's gonna go in with the pond. So it'll be a little more aesthetic than that one. We'll probably put one on each corner at 2 different angles. So if they come from the subdivision or if they come from Denny Drive, they'll see the rules. And we're also going to put a sign to catch and release.
That's good.
We've had an incident with somebody was over there netting fish out of the pond. It's there for the enjoyment of all the residents of the village. We don't want somebody in there seining and netting all the fish out and giving no one anything to catch. So we're going to do a catch and release also with that sign.
You ever take it home and put it in their pond?
I think they use it for bait fish.
Oh, bait fish, yeah. Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and skip and move straight to legislation tonight. In front of you is an ordinance that we talked about modifying. It's our rules of council. The only modifications that we did to that, other than some grammar, was to we moved the finance, the planning, and the safety meeting to the first meeting of the month, and also the cemetery, but that depends on when we have cemetery business. And the second meeting of the month, we'll do streets, fire, police, and zoning around the second meeting. With Recreation Commission, being it's a commission, we'll do that also at the second meeting of the month. Try to streamline the meetings so we get the most efficient out of the meetings that we do. So, with that being said, I'll read Amelia Village, Ohio Ordinance 0-2012-31, and ordinance amending ordinance 0-2012-01, modifying rules of council for calendar year 2012 and declaring an emergency. At this time, I need a motion to suspend the rules on 3 separate dates.
So moved.
Second.
I have a first, I have a second. Any questions? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yay.
Ms. Elliott?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Follett?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Motion carries.
At this time, I need a motion to adopt ordinance 0-2012-31.
So moved.
Second.
Mr.
Any
Campbell?
discussion? No discussion? That's fine. Roll call vote.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yes.
Ms. Elliott?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Follett?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
At this time, I need a motion for the approval of the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yay.
Ms. Elliott?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Follett?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Motion carries.
All right, with that, now we can do our committee reports. So, do we have anything on finance?
It's only been a few weeks, we don't have much. I mean, the last meeting was kind of a getting to know you session with Jennifer there. It's really not a ton to report, but I guess that's my report. We met with our new fiscal officer, kind of got to know her.
Are you feeling pretty comfortable?
So far, I mean, I know this one report looked a little different, but that's what comes right out of the system, and so I'm trying to keep things, detailed and make notes in there and have it print out for you all, so.
Okay, anybody else have any questions for Jennifer? Planning and zoning, Mr. Campbell.
Thank you, Mayor. What I have to report tonight is, last meeting we had a discussion on zoning and permit fees. We're reviewing other municipalities' fees and such to kind of bring ours into line with some of the other municipalities in the area. So we'll be probably finalizing some of those in maybe our next meeting. We're also reviewing other municipalities' zoning regulations so we can use them as an aid to rewrite some of the village zoning regulations that we currently have. We also had a meeting with Pierce Township, and where we had a discussion with Pierce Township about working together on future economic development in the area. That's all I have.
Any questions for Derek? Safety. I know you didn't meet, so.
We didn't meet, so there's nothing new to talk about.
Okay. I've got a little bit of information I'd like to put out. Ricky came to me. They have they're having a seminar on cemeteries. It covers the whole gamut of the cemetery, from setting the stones to placing the caskets to the new version of what they're doing in cemeteries as far as the cremation walls and things like that. And it goes in depth. It's 2 days. I went over some of the information. I think it'd be very useful for us, especially since we've opened our cemetery. So what I'm asking for council right now is we need to approve this. Runs about $420. So what I'm going to ask council for is $500, not to exceed. to let Ricky go to this seminar. It's on a Monday and a Tuesday on August 13th.
Where's it go?
He's going to Dublin, Ohio.
Dublin.
I talked in length with him about it. I think we can really use it, and I know we've got a lot of work we need to do straightening up tombstones and things and putting them back together, and they show a class on that, so hopefully Ricky can take all that good information, bring it back to us, and we can use it here.
Are we going to pay this from the cemetery fund?
Ricky actually has money in his training fund right now, but I thought we could half and half. We could do half out of the training and half in the cemetery, but it's strictly up to what you guys want to do.
I think it should all come out.
We
of
can
that.
take it out of the cemetery fund. I
Absolutely.
have no problem with that. That would be up,
That's where
that would be up to
it's
you
going for.
guys.
Yeah.
Would you like to put that in the form of a motion to go ahead and accept, let Ricky go, not to exceed $500 and to come out of the cemetery fund?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Ms. Elliott?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
Yay.
Mr. Campbell?
Yay.
Mr. Pollock?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'd like to go ahead and open the floor for public input. If anyone has any public input, please feel free to come up to the podium and state your name and your address and address council if you'd like. No public input? Any council input?
it. Well,
Just looked at
other than the fact, I've got a very detailed information from Mount Moriah. It's got everything from soup to nuts, from the ground to the wherever. And Bethel's, hope there's anybody here from Bethel. But their Bethel is very different. In other words, we wouldn't apply it in Amelia.
Do you want to fill council in on what we're talking about here?
Yeah, specifications and things in the cemetery.
Okay, this would be for doing foundations
Very,
and
yes,
doing the burial
Yes.
costs and things like that in
yes.
surrounding areas.
We have the lot prices, an infant section, up to various sizes, opening and closing of the graves up to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, whatever. No funerals after 3. Depending on the ashes, we have an ashes rules and regulations. Like some are in plastic containers, some are in metal containers, some are in concrete containers. Each one has a different price as far as the cremation and scattering or whatever the case may be. And they have rules, no funerals on Sundays or holidays. Then you get down to the foundations and disinterments, either a vault or an urn, depending on if it's a cremation or not. The foundations, the charge for removing existing foundations, and I guess those are the ones that left, and charge for installing a vase, and charge for setting markers. Foundations are laid without charge for veterans, which makes sense to me. And then turn the page, and the markers, you have different prices for markers. Single markers, maximum length 36 inches, maximum width 14 inches, maximum thickness 10 inches. And that's the rules. Minimum thickness is 4 inches. A double marker goes a different price. And infant markers, different sizes. Infant markers are different sizes yet. Foundations, they put a foundation in for 60 cents per square inch. And the footers are 6 inches deep, and the top will be 1 inch below the ground. At the end of the size of whatever it's going to be, there'll be 2 post hole diggers, 2 post holes, one on each side, dug below the frost line, and that prevents the foundation from moving. That's sort of an anchor to it. And then flat markers are set in a sand base 1 inch below the ground, and that depends on whether it's brass or bronze or concrete or whatever. And when a monument is purchased by the company, or when the monument is purchased, the company notifies the cemetery the size of the stone, and then they set their price to do whatever they have to do. Sack treats mixed on site by hand, and the hole is square as a stud, no forming, no nothing. So that's that.
All right, thanks. The reason
And I thought it was pretty good.
that we're getting very busy on this cemetery, we had another call for 4 more plots in the cemetery. So it seems like it's getting very active all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah.
So we're trying to make sure we're doing everything right, and
They have,
probably need to look at in the
yeah,
future. maybe the
they
next-
have their residents, township residents is 550. And township residents, 5 or more per household, 1,100. And then out of township residents like us would be 1,500 per lot.
I'm not sure what our prices are right now. I think it's 500 per resident.
Has the cemetery committee met yet?
Uh,
Getting ready to-
Not officially.
I think that would be the next step. You guys said.
Yeah, we do have to set that up.
Yeah, that's a lot of good information.
I think this is great. Of course, this is really a professional operation down in Union Township. I'm not knocking Bethel, but for example, if somebody dies in Bethel, they won't set a stone until they have like maybe 15 or so deaths. Then they set them all at one time with a concrete truck. Well, a lot of people, I think, would frown on if your mother died and you're going to have to wait till 14 more people die. It might be a year or more before you could ever
Get your
finish,
headstone put on.
before you ever had a headstone. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, and that's the way they operate. So, but I like this better in-house. That's all I've got at the present time. I
Thank
think.
you, Bob. Anybody else have any?
Yeah, I have something. Would you like to update everybody on the road widening project?
On the road widening of the 125 road widening, the poles were set to be moved on the 9th. Due to the storms that came through, it's now moved to the 23rd. So Duke projects the 23rd now as their new pole date to move the poles. Other than that, we're still moving forward and waiting to hear from ODOT and from Claremont County to move forward with the
I
project.
talked to Craig Stevenson today with Claremont County Engineer's Office, and they are going to be bidding in about 2 weeks as soon as the pole situation, as soon as the poles are moved, is going out for bid.
Okay, so about 2 weeks
In
after
about
the
2
project
weeks,
is
yeah.
out for bid. So
And
that
then
way
it's a
everybody
2-week period for the bids to come back.
And then once they close on them, how quickly before they start?
I think they can start within a couple weeks of that. We had talked about a completion date around Thanksgiving, and right now that's looking to be about December 1st at this point in time because of some delays that have come through the process. But I think we're pretty much on track for bidding, and talking a 3 to 4 month construction period is what they've always talked about, so we're still on track for that.
Now, do we have somebody in place to work with the TID when they start going through the bids, just to review?
We hadn't talked about that, but I can contact them, and if you or the mayor would want to
Sure.
be their contact person for that.
Okay.
I think they'll probably go with, they say lowest and best generally, so even though someone may have a low bid, they may not be the best bid.
Correct.
So,
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Anything else? Anybody else has got?
well, on that front, I think that the cost may be a little bit lower than the estimates, due to the fact when I was reviewing the estimates this week, it included some movement of signage, and property owners have already been compensated for that when we purchased their property. So I think some of those costs that were in there for the moving of signs won't be part of the project, so that'll lower the cost a little bit. It wasn't significant.
Okay. Jennifer, I don't know, have you seen some information about the local government fund and how they're going to have a meeting soon to go
Yes.
over how they're going to divvy up the local government fund? Do you have any feedback on that, or?
That's Thursday, the 19th. I was at the last one, and I believe Mayor Menz from here was at that meeting. And I think they did it by population, concentration, I believe.
Well, that was-
Were you there?
No, I wasn't, but that was one of my things. After reviewing previous years, Bethel and New Richmond's dispersion from the fund was always more than Amelia's.
Interesting.
So
'Cause
I
that's
didn't
off
know
the
if
top
you
of my
knew
head.
what their formula was for,
And they talk about that. They talk about what's fair, you know, and
Mhm.
everybody kind of hashed it around and agreed. And I believe that that's what they came to that decision, but I don't think there's gonna be that much to talk about because it's going away.
right? I know that they're trying to put it into 1 year increment and then redo how they divvy it up, but
It should
I
be
was wondering if
interesting.
they did it by population, and here,
But then there was
we're the most
municipality.
populous, but yet we didn't get the most,
Yeah, and I don't remember how that was 5 years ago? 07, I think it was. Yeah, it was 5 years ago.
Okay.
So I guess that's why we're re-upping again, how they go through that process.
yeah, so I think that, I don't know if you or Jennifer are going to be at that meeting, but
I know,
I
I
think
plan
that's
on
that's something,
I'll get with you.
And I
about
think
that.
Julie forwarded you that email from Chuck Tilbury from the auditor's office for that.
yeah.
'Cause
And
it
when I
said here
reviewed it,
also.
yeah, previous years, New Richmond, Bethel, with less population was getting more local government
Yeah,
funds, so.
honestly, I don't remember.
I
how
didn't
much
know if they
it
were
was.
doing it by population or what, so.
That's how the townships, I think, have always done it, but then, you know, you've got different, concentration here, so.
Right, okay.
My understanding of the process, this is from Becky's fiscal officer, is that there are votes taken, and townships have a certain amount of votes, and the villages have a certain amount of votes, and they
That's
come
what they're
to
gonna
some-
do, yeah.
Yeah, they come to some formula, and how that is, obviously, it's not
Yeah,
population.
that's what I was gonna say, if it was population, we should have
We
had the
should-
most, and
Should have the most.
we're actually third in the villages, I believe, maybe fourth. So,
It was
okay.
5 years ago, so.
Yeah,
That's a long time ago. That could happen in 5 years,
This is true.
good, bad, or otherwise.
yeah.
Any other council input? I've got something. Chief came off probation at our last meeting, and we accepted him as our new full-time police chief. And this being his first full-time police chief position, I'd like for him to come forward. I got him a little something I'd like to give him.
A sword?
I
Golly!
can't give him a sword, Bob. I thought it'd be something nice. You can hang it in your office or possibly put it in your cruiser.
Cool.
Actually, it
That's
says David J. Friend, Chief of Police, Amelia Village, Ohio, officially December 5th, 2011. So there you go, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I thought that was appropriate. You may get a lot of use out of that.
Just for notes, Renee would like one of them when she leaves.
He can get back to his wife, and she can.
Well, yeah, I don't see her getting that.
All right. Any other public input?
No,
No more council
we got something
input?
else I thought you were gonna bring up, but,
Go ahead.
we had a rec meeting last night and we are going to do a Facebook page.
Yes.
Our question was, and it would be up to council whether or not we wanted to do an Amelia, a village page, and kind of bounce one off the other. We are they will not have comments, it will be purely for information purposes. That's what the rec commission is gonna do, just because that information is instantaneous. We don't have to wait for a web person to put that information out there. And it was just something that if you guys want to think about it and discuss it, I think it would be beneficial. A lot of the municipalities are going to the Facebook for just that reason. So whatever you guys wanted to do, we are going to try to get that up and running very soon. So we didn't know if we wanted to bounce one off of the other. To try to get people to come like the page as well.
Do you have somebody that's gonna monitor and or run the page, or?
We do
how's
for
that?
rec. Now that's
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to discuss. Or that would be one of the things, because you can put as many administrators on there as you want, or we could have one person who does it
from council, or however we would want to do that, and whatever, Julia suggests that we do as far as that goes. But I think, especially for recreation, it's going to be very beneficial. And I don't think it would hurt us any to put something out there as well. And it's free.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what
it's
about
free.
the rec kind of doing that and then just directing anything to the village website instead of like having a village Facebook?
We can do that. That's
That way
why I
you
brought
would
it,
kind of
right.
be the Facebook. and
Right.
something
That's
like
what
that.
I wanted, y'all to discuss, or what you thought was the best thing to do.
I think we get the recreation up and running and see how that Facebook goes, and take it from there.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, it's instantaneous. We can put pictures of all the current things that we're doing so people can see it a lot more readily than what
Right.
we're able to do now. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, that's our most information people are gonna be looking for from our website or Facebook page would be rec anyways. So if we've got a rec page, points back to the village page, I think it'd probably be pretty good.
All right.
Julia, is there any issue with publishing pictures that might have other people in it,
I
or?
will have to look into that. I had to research some other issues.
Okay.
But, I will check on that.
Okay.
Maybe y'all need a Twitter account too.
We'll just start with the Facebook. That's a big move for us. So,
I thought turning it on was a big move.
any other discussion? All right, our next meeting will be July 17th at 2012 at 7 p.m. and that will be a special meeting. We will have a special meeting over the budget. I will not be here. Bob will be here to run that meeting. Just to let everybody know.
What do you like to drink?
It will be Tuesday, July 17th at 7 p.m. Everybody comfortable with that? All right. Since there's no other business, I will have council make a motion 7:30 to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn at 7:30.
Second.
All in favor? All right. Any opposed? Thank you very much.